Hey, River of Grace family. The early church, it says that day by day attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord was adding to their number day by day those who were being saved. We are the church, and by nature of the church, we are family, and families get together, and that's what Jesus would expect. That's how we stay strong. That's how we encourage each other. That's how evangelism happens. In fact, I just finished a membership class with 8 people, and 2 have come to Christ through River of Grace in the last 9 months. So, Jesus is calling us to gather, but obviously we are in a unique place in history where the COVID crisis has caused us not to gather, but now is the time to gather. So this Saturday, September 19th at 10:30, we'll have our first public worship gathering since March 8th, I think. A number of things, and that's what this video is about. A number of things is, first of all, if you have not RSVP'd, you really can't come. If you showed up and there are seats available, then our team will find a place for you. But we need you to RSVP every week if you're going to come. Primarily because we only have 60 seats. And this week I think we have around 45 people who are RSVP'd. And that's great, and I would expect that number to potentially grow. And so that is required. I want to kind of point you to our health safety team, or what I would affectionately call our own squad. It's Sarah Beth Booker and Marcia Savage and Becky Colby. They're running point on everything about our gathering when it comes to safety. So whatever they say, please do. And we will worship Jesus together. So just want to go over a couple things that are a part of our gathering, at least initially out of the gate here. You'll walk into the sanctuary through the front glass door of the sanctuary to United Baptist Church. That's 39 Fayette Street in Concord. And we urge you to show up early, 10:15-ish. That would be great. That way we can find your seats. As you walk in, you'll be greeted. And there will be a table there. There will be an offering box if you want to drop off offering. Most of you have migrated to giving online or giving by mail, and that we urge you to keep that up. But there's an offering box on the table, and most importantly, there are little communion cups. They're sealed, so they're sanitarily safe, or whatever you want to say that. And you'll take that with you for communion later. There's hand sanitizer, and if you didn't bring a mask, that we have masks available. Here, this is important to hear. Masks are required as long as you're moving, walking in, walking out, standing to sing. Masks are required. Now, I want to also urge you that if you are able, we would urge you to keep masks on the whole time. That's not required, but it's strongly suggested. And so all of this is twofold. One, we want to be as safe and as accommodating as possible to those who are vulnerable, and to prevent the spread of COVID. And we're also submitting to authorities over us, which God has put there for the security of the people that authorities are over. So both the authority of our governor and also the authority of our host church, UBC. So we're trying to follow their protocols, and which seem to be reasonable. So as you enter, well, you will then be guided to your assigned seat. Yes, you will have assigned seat. Sounds like junior high, doesn't it? Sorry about that, but necessary for now, because if we have 60 people RSVP'd, we want to find seats for all of them. And we have some unique challenges with 7 or 8 or 9 people from our Good Uplifting Times community who have been meeting with us for about 2 months now, maybe even 3, at UBC. And so we want make sure they have safe, secure seating as well. And so assigned seating, the ushers will find you a seat. Again, if you can show up early, I would appreciate that. You'll see recording equipment. Marcus Weddle and Stephen Schwab have been doing a fantastic job since, my goodness, since that first Sunday, March 15th. Marcus has been on duty and has trained Stephen. So there'll be electronic equipment. There'll be cords taped to the floor. Just be aware of that. That's so we can live stream and provide a virtual worship gathering for those who are homebound or meeting in house churches. And so with that, we'll urge you to find your seat, take your seat. Please don't socialize. We're not urging you not to wave or not to talk, but remember, masks and fist bumps and elbow bumps are okay, but don't hug or handshake inside. If you do that outside, that's beyond my realm of sort of concern or authority. But inside, please practice those things, especially to provide a safe environment. We just don't want to be a church that ends up being a spreader. So that's part of this goal. And then the worship service will include 2 song announcements, 2 songs, a sermon, and 2 more songs with communion in there. The worship team will be, at this point, no more than 2. Whoever's preaching, whoever's doing announcements, they'll be up on the stage. They'll be socially distanced, I think, 15 feet from the nearest seat, which is within all the parameters of our state government and CDC. And they won't have masks on, and that's why the distance, the space, they won't have a barrier, but they'll have appropriate distance. And so that's happening. So happy and so honored that Brandon will be bringing the sermon this week, his last sermon with us as part of our family. And then actually the following week, we'll be laying our hands on, probably with gloves on, laying our hands on Brandon and Lindsay and sending them out on the next step in their adventure following Jesus. And so just so grateful that Brandon is bringing the message this week. There's no children's ministry. That will probably go on for the next 4 to 6 weeks until we figure out if that's possible. It probably is, but for now, children be with us. There will be children handouts that Marcia will have provided. And as you leave the service, there'll be a place for you to drop off your used little, looks like a little mini moo communion container. So there'll be receptacle for that, and you'll go out the side door and out the side parking lot. That's protocol for United Baptist Church. So we want to honor our host church. They are so good to us. So we just want to honor that. There are 2 bathrooms, a men's room and a women's room. Even though the capacity could hold more than 1 at a time, we are asking only 1 in at a time, and there's a vacancy occupied sign to slide back and forth. There's some instructions about and hand wipes available to wipe down like the surfaces of the sink and the doors you walk out, and there's a receptacle for that outside the bathroom so that you can actually walk out and having wiped the door handle. The Good Uplifting Times people will be staying for lunch. We've been doing that for 2 or 3 months. It's been working well. We practice social distancing, 3 at a table. Iris Buchanan and Tom McWilliams and Mark Johnson have that thing down. We'd ask that you not enter that space. It's a kind of a gathering room. And as much as we want you to love our Good Uplifting Times community, we just ask you not to enter that space. I think that does it. If I've forgotten anything, there'll probably be some written material on this as well. Please just follow the instructions of our squad as they oversee, as they mother us in a good way. And let's rejoice. Jesus has saved us, and he has carried us through what has been called this global pandemic, unprecedented times. But he's carried us through. He's answered our prayer. It's the pandemic, as sad as it is, as we're coming up on 200,000 deaths in the United States, contributed partially to COVID. The reality is they were predicting 2 million. So I see that as God's kindness. At the end of the day, we are on mission for Jesus. We don't live in fear. We live in love. We are the church. We gather. We are broken. We have all struggled with this. And at the end of the day, we are just trying to be obedient. So if you can gather, gather. If not, and you see service online, we love you. We can't wait to see you again. Praying for the day that COVID is a thing of in history. And one more thing, I am praying that by January, we are able to meet on Sunday morning. Whether that's back at Christa McAuliffe or another location, my prayer is, because Sunday is a far more conducive time to gather, I am praying for that. And would you join me in praying for that as well? I am I am so at peace at what Jesus is doing. These have been very, very troubling times, but Jesus has been good. He is present and he is at work. So hope to see you Sunday if you RSVP'd, otherwise virtually. And please RSVP again and again and again. And I'd love to have all 60 seats taken. But until then, we love you and we are praying that Jesus is honored in everything we do. God bless.